Hello, I'm Sean Bishop, and this is What's New May in my shop, Bishop Instruments and Bows in London. Beautiful sunny day. Summer has officially started today. I'm wearing my first polo top, so there we go. And I don't have a coffee, but I've already had a couple already, so I should be having a glass of water, but next time. Right, let's jump into it. I didn't do one for last month. Stuff happens. So let's just sort of get on with what I've got at hand. First of all, let's have a look at a nice violin by Gaetano Sgarabotto. This violin was made in Milan about 1910. Sgarabotto trained with the Antoniazzi family and with the Biziacs. One of the only makers actually that did that. They often had an allegiance in Milan. You were either with the Antoniazzis or the Biziacs. But Gaetano Sgarabotto was a bit of a, I don't want to use the word itinerant maker, but he did make for both. And then this was made in Milan in 1910, as I've just said. But he was also moving around Vicenza, and not Brescia, Milan, Vicenza, Parma as well. So I'm not, if you look up instruments from 1910 by this maker, you see different addresses. But anyway, Dimitri Gindin, the expert, says Milan. I'll stick with Milan. I think he says probably Milan. So there we go. He's hedging his bets as well. This violin is very interesting. It is labelled Carlo Guadagnini. Now, Carlo Guadagnini, from memory, made no violins. I think he made basically guitars. Certainly a member of the Guadagnini family, so it's a great name to have. So if you're going to copy a violin, copy someone that we don't know much about. So the label in there says Carlo Guadagnini. I had this recently rebarred and set up by my restorer, and he was looking at it, and he texted me and said, I think everything in this violin, all the little edge work, the sort of a crack in here, everything that's going on is all Sgarabotto. Actually, I didn't even say to me, he said, the maker, whoever it was, they did everything, I think. And yeah, I said, well, there you go, Sgarabotto. That's what he did. So it's quite possible, and I will say that someone might have come to him and said, look, we need a Guadagnini violin. We're going to be in town in a couple of months. Do you have one? And he said, well, I'll have a think about it. I think we can find you a very nice one. And quickly made this, because a lot of the, if you can see my book collection up there, I've got books everywhere. There's 2 books on Sgarabotto, and one of them in particular, the Scrilavazza and Genre book, which just came out a couple of years ago, big book, I think it's right at the top anyway. They publish a few letters from other makers of the period, very disparaging about Sgarabotto, and they sort of call him a bit of a shyster and things like that. He obviously was not loved by everyone in the profession. Who would have guessed? So anyway, this violin is Sgarabotto. It was originally thought to be Sannino of Rome, but it's not. It's Sgarabotto, between you and me. But yeah, really nice violin. I really like this. It sounds fantastic. Let's have a quick play. I'll get onto the bow in that later. Okay, hope you like that. It's a beautiful violin. Right, the next violin that I've got, straight off where are we? Well, that was an early 20th century. Here we have mid-19th century, Jean-Baptiste Vuillaume, 1854. Great violin, straight copy. The top ones, they really do everything, don't they? Certainly the price-wise is going up, going a bit crazy, aren't they now? This one, if you're interested, is £300,000, which ultimately is still cheaper than a Rocca and a Presenda of the same period. Great violin. Anyone, concertmaster, soloist, chamber musician, anyone with 300,000 can buy this. I'll have a play. So it's got a bit more depth than the Sgarabotto. It's got a little bit more class. Well, it should. It's significantly more expensive. But I've sold a lot of Vuillaumes. This is a really good example. It was definitely one of my better sounding ones over the years. Really nice violin. I don't really need to say much about Vuillaume. Everyone knows he made thousands of instruments, big workshop. Probably did the varnishing himself, they feel, and didn't do all the making in the white. But all the people that worked for him, no one ever says when they look at a Durazi, oh wow, that's as good as a Vuillaume, because they're not. Vuillaume was the genius. The people that worked for him were not the genius, okay? So that is the difference, right? Same with Stradivari, isn't it? 2 sons in the profession, maybe 3, there was a rumour. He was the genius. The sons weren't geniuses. And when you look at their work, it's very nice, it's very good, but it's not the finished Stradivari genius. And Vuillaume is the other genius of our business. I don't care what anyone says, he definitely was. Okay, moving right along, what did I buy? This is a classic dealer buy. Boom. Violin scroll. This is an Enrico Rocca, so son of Giuseppe, and this is a violin made in 1911, is it, or 13, or I can't see. I really should know these things, shouldn't I, before I start talking. But anyway, who's listening? 1911. He died in 1915, and this is just, I love this violin. You know, it's good, honest violin making, not really antique, but it's had 100 years. I bought it like this, so I hope it sounds good. I'm pretty sure it will. We need to fix up a few little bits and bobs here, there, a few varnish touch-ups. But I think this would be a lovely violin. He made this in Genova, so the family moved to Genova, and he worked with his dad for a few years, probably only about 5 years, I would think, because he was 16 or 17 when Dad died. But of course, people were starting early then. They were probably starting at 12. So he probably got 5 years, 5 or 6 years. And actually his early work looks like his dad's work. This one doesn't. This looks like Genovese work, a bit like Praga, someone of that sort of period. Yeah, but it's a really beautiful violin. And if you give this 6 months, we'll have it all set up and ready to go. Nice violin. But I like looking at this, and yeah, I think I'm in love. Right, let's get on to just one bow I'm talking about. It's a brand new bow by Josephine Thomachot. I think it's Violin Makers, Female Violin Makers and Bow Makers Month. Is that a thing? I don't know. I was reading about it somewhere. Anyway, she, of course, is the daughter of the great Stéphane Thomachot, regarded as one of the greatest makers of the last 40 years, I guess, yeah. And while she studied scientific geology, I think, at university for 5 or 6 years, obviously the lure of the family DNA was too much, and she started making with her dad, I think in 2011. So not that long ago, really, just over 10 years, and did some training with Noel Burke and a few other people. This is she's won a few certificates of merit, I think, at the VSA competitions, bow making competition. I think I even had her viola bow, which was a prize winner. But this bow actually is nothing like her father's. So it won't be, she uses a gold eye, a ring around the eye, very close, if you can see that. It pictures on my website eventually. And the head is completely different to Stéphane, her father. So that's nice that she's found her own style, because bow makers are always looking for their own style, and some people, they muck around non-stop trying to find what is the bow they make and not be like their teachers. And Josephine is definitely not like her teachers, and the work is her own, and I really like it, and it's a gold-mounted bow. So if you want a Josephine Thomachot, get in quick, because I'm sure I'll sell it soon. Okay, anyway, thank you very much. Enjoy May, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.